Hi there. The Church of Nowhere on the idea of salvation or world savage. I have to say that when it comes to the religions of the world, there's a lot about saving people and saving souls from endless rebirth and saving them from the lake of fire and, and all this kind of stuff. But no one actually does really want to save the planet, it seems to me. Uh, because there's too much profit to be made out of exploiting the planet. And people live for the moment of having money. I mean, for example, you're sitting in your limo and you look at your watch and 5 minutes has passed by and you've made $100,000. So why would and you kind of savor that moment. And with all that money, you can buy another house or a car or a yacht and you can go out in your yacht on the ocean and you feel good. I mean, you can experience what is called indulgence, which is the sort of hedonistic moment of pleasure that a lot of money can bring. And the more money that you have, the more pleasure you can really have. I mean, they say money can't buy you love, but it can buy you pretty much everything else, and it probably can buy you certain types of love and admiration and beautiful women and beautiful men and it can certainly buy you a knighthood or whatever, or an emeritus professorship in some Ivy League college. It's good to be very, very rich, and so why would you want to save the planet when you're doing so well out of it? um, well, I suppose you could say what sort of enlightened self-interest comes into it, because if you haven't got a planet left worth making money out of, then you kind of killed the golden goose, haven't you? Which so the goose that laid the golden egg, it's dead. So you've got to preserve the goose, which preserve the gold, in order to get more golden eggs out of it. Like, you know what I mean? But if you are making money, why should you care about how the money is made and where it comes from, really, at the end of the day? And when you look at, so there's millions of Christians out there, and millions of Muslims and Buddhists and Jews and people who follow the Judaic religion, etc. And they really don't care about the planet, saving the planet. It seems to me. If you take there's millions of Christians out there who basically their theology supports, in fact, that not caring at all about this planet, because after the second coming, there's going to be a new planet which is made in perfection or to perfection, and therefore the fate of this particular planet is of no consequence, because it's really not going to be here that much longer anyway. So there's no point in preserving it. And other people take the view that God is already preserving us, so there's no need for humankind to interfere with that process, because it's already happening, which hasn't got much to do with Christianity, really. But anyway, some people have this kind of like a cargo cult associated with God being the preserver. And then there's people say that we deserve to be destroyed anyway, and some people, are hoping and trying to manipulate history in order for there to be a third world war. And just before that happens, I suppose Jesus is going to come down on a cloud and judge the quick and the dead. And if we can manipulate God or Jesus to do that, by supporting Israel against the Palestinians, which will hopefully lead to a third world war, hopefully in quotes, and then that will be just lovely, and then everything will work out for the best. But nobody really cares about the planet as it is now, and wants to save the planet as is. That there's talk in Islam of how if you are mean to animals, they will speak against you in the court of judgment, the celestial judgment. So I suppose if we do destroy this planet, then I don't know, the spirit of this planet will speak against you personally at the court, the celestial court. And if you have been taking part in the destruction of animals and planet and the whole planet, which was made by Allah, then presumably you're going to be for it. You know what I mean? You are going to go to hell because you were committed to, you were part of a conspiracy of criminal action against the planet. But even that is like, well, that's, you know, you're going to get punished sort of after death or after the end of time. Nobody's going to actually give you a fine. Like the EPA not going to come after you and fine you millions of dollars for polluting the river. You know, you're going to get punishment sort of later on, you know, millions of years hence. Actually, you're going to have a worse punishment than just getting a fine from the EPA, because you're going to burn in the lake of fire forever, which probably is a lot nastier than a little fine. But you probably laugh at that and say, oh, I don't believe that. So, and then of course in the Church of Nowhere, we don't believe in any of this kind of stuff anyway. So all you can do to save the planet is to reduce your carbon footprint actually on an individual basis and get your community to reduce its carbon footprint and to get your country to do the same. And this may or may not have an effect of stopping global warming. We don't really know. So, you know, that's all you can basically do. But at least you're doing it on behalf of some kind of, well, you have some sort of religious fervor about you. And environmentalism could be said to be religion, but it's quite a decent religion when you think about it, really, because it does puts world savage at the top of its agenda, and savage of the human race as well. You know, although maybe you're a nihilist and you don't think that the human race is worth saving, really. And of course, so what with the religionists and the nihilists? As again, so nobody really cares about the planet because you know, and people just say, well, it's all energy anyway. Another planet will be born somewhere else, so it doesn't really matter. And anyway, there will always be life on Earth, whatever happens, whether there's global warming or global freezing or whatever. There's always going to be life somewhere. So it doesn't really matter, and species are dying out every day anyway, and have been for millennia. Species come and species go. Including Homo erectus and, you know, Neanderthal man. They had their day and then they were destroyed. So if you look at things from an evolutionary point of view, a scientific point of view, then you're not too concerned really about saving the planet either. Ultimately. But it looks good on your resume. You know, I'm a professor of biology and I helped to save the planet from global warming. Looks good on your resume. You know, looks you might get a Nobel Peace Prize or Nobel Prize for saving the planet or something. And that might be quite fun to have that, put that on your wall, like, you know. Anyway, I mustn't get too satirical because that satire is on the way to anger. So the Church of Nowhere would be kind of into saving the planet, doing the best as you probably can to do that. Bearing in mind, you know, that it is true that the past is history, and the future is a mystery, and all that we have is the present. So, you know, meditation is important to the Church of Nowhere. So that's going into the present, being present in the here and now. And this might be all that we actually have left. And it's, you know, and we can't stop the global warming and we're all going to die. But at least we can not worry about that future if it comes. We can just go into the meditational present and just, you know, chill out and relax and just listen to our breath and be aware of something other to ourselves, perhaps, which would be the whole biosphere itself, you know, which is other than your own selfish ego and desires and what have you. Or you could just say, well, I'm in the moment of hedonistic pleasure, indulging in all the money that I've got, you know, from the Indian sweatshops and from the slaughterhouses, and I'm okay about it. And that's okay too. I mean, what can we do? We can't burn you at the stake, for going against church policy on slaughterhouses and sweatshops. It's up to you, really. I mean, you can have a vision of all the death and destruction you're causing, and change your life, change lanes, or you can just continue to go down the path that you are going down, and living for the moment and saying, well, the past is history and the future is a mystery, and that's pretty much okay for you. But I suppose religions do care about other beings apart from their own members or apart from the individual. So caring about animals and people, and stopping wars and what have you, could be part of the religious agenda, I suppose. But bear in mind that we're saving the earth without detachment and without attachment to saving the earth. We're just saving the earth, but if it doesn't work, then that doesn't matter. Do you know what I mean? You can just go back to your meditation and say, well, I did my bit. But then probably a lot of rich people are also saying that. I mean, they're saying, I'm making a lot of money, but also giving a lot of money to charities, environmental charities and what have you. So my conscience is pretty clear, because I'm giving my loose change to some charity or other, which is assuaging my guilt for making vast profits out of the exploitation of animals and people, and that's probably okay as well. Really, I mean, what can you say against that without sort of being snide, being negative against someone for doing that? I mean, if that's how they see themselves and see the world, then that's how they see themselves and the world. Do you know what I mean? So I suppose the Church of Nowhere, it's nihilistic in the sense that it doesn't matter, but also it recognizes that there could be a world, where animals and people are treated better. And whether or not this saves the world from global warming is almost neither here nor there, because at least you are doing something ethical, or your community or your country is behaving ethically, even if everything else is going to the dogs, like is going up in a sheet of flame. And maybe that's finally all that we've got is just ourselves, and the things that we do and the consequences of our own actions. And that's basically where you have to kind of park it.